Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out. Christ is Lord.
Hello and welcome in to another episode of Offensively Accurate. And it is Casual Friday, so forgive the appearance. It's a bit different from where we've been previously, but it's been a good day so far. Hopefully you guys have been just as blessed. Thank God I am breathing. Thank God I have been given another day to be with my family. It seems like there are some troubled times laying ahead of us, some things to be prepared for, but today's going to be a bit more of a fun day. And not as much news happening today as you would expect. A lot more about reactionary stuff, and but a lot of good moments, actually. A lot of feel good moments, even if they're only cathartic in nature. Maybe they don't mean all too much in the end of everything. But we'll explore that. We have Glenn Beck getting harassed by what seems to be Groypers. We have Vivek getting harassed by what seems to be Groypers. And let me tell you, the what's the saying? Mama, the kids are going to be all right. It's been a pleasant development to see a lot of this on multiple fronts in different areas at the same time. And so I can only really hope that that energy continues ultimately. And so we're going to watch a good bit of that. But at the same time, we also have, gentlemen, I regret to inform you, women. We have more from the J. Jones story, although it's not about J. Jones himself particularly. It's actually about Abigail Spanberger, who is the running for the governor seat there in Virginia against, I believe her name is Ursum Winsome Sears. It's she's got a real black name there. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it or not, but that's who she's running against. And we had some golden moments come out of that debate we'll watch here. But the travesty there was actually the fact that it was two women vying for the governor's seat. That's the travesty there. Where are the men? I think of all the makes me think of that funny football, the NFL meme, where the guy's like, the cheerleader's on the screen for too long, and he was like, I'm sick of looking at these women. Where are the men? And that's kind of the vibe I got. And so, and truth be told, everybody kind of gets the feeling, this is just kind of the status quo, if you will. A lot of women positioning, and maybe that's part of the reason why Erica Kirk got the nod here. Come on, Erica, we need you instead. No, I'm just messing. I do have an announcement. I'll go over to two kind of announcements. One really is actually an announcement. The other's more so an update for you, because I guess I am a commentator, if you will, political commentator. I guess that's what I would call myself. Somebody who, I'm not going to disclose who. I have a source. Isn't that cool to say that? I have a source actually who was, how much do I want to say? Ultimately, the corroboration ended up being nothing. And so I guess I should zoom out and walk back a little bit. What I'm referencing is Candace Owens' latest episode, where she took a deep dive looking at specifically Cooper Brown is his name. And the reason why she took a deep dive looking into him is because many people might remember the video that had went viral, what seemed to be someone trying to tell their story about what they had seen about the Charlie Kirk assassination being shut down essentially by other people wearing similar clothes to him. Now, she explored this a bit more in detail, and the guy who was seen in video shutting the other guy down, so not the one trying to talk to the mic, the one who's telling him to shut up, the one telling him to shut up has been identified as Cooper Brown, and that's who she was digging into. And so she finds out that apparently the day of and literally the day after that this guy actually went on Fox News, not once but twice. And what does he tell? Well, he tells that actually he's not a part of TPUSA. He's a part of, what is this other organization? I think I had it here. He's a part of some other organization. I'm trying to remember what exactly that was. Regardless, it's I think it's called Leadership Institute. this Leadership Institute is supposedly, they do coordination, volunteer coordination for any kind of event, whether it's TPUSA or, and insert any other, conservative political action group here. They will do their best to help coordinate and have people go out and volunteer. Supposedly that's what it's supposed to be. The questionable part here is when she began to dig into like, who is this guy and where does he come from? What she finds is actually that he's not from Utah. She's looking and she's finding some weird different addresses. And so really the only thing she has to go off of is from this profile from the Leadership Institute. And the one curious thing about it was supposedly he had attended. Oh, new here. I appreciate that. Thank you. Some people think it's fake, but we'll get past his allegations at some point. The point that was curious was he's not from Utah, so why is he there? Well, he's there because of the Leadership Institute. So where is he from? Like, what is his connections? So what she can draw from the Leadership Institute is that supposedly he had attended or graduated from the Southern New Hampshire University. So this is where I come in. So I have a source actually who works for this university, and they did work ever since it had been heard. They are a regular Candace listener. So they heard it and it perked their ears up when they heard that. They go, wait a minute, what's up? That's around me. So they did some digging, and the only corroboration they were able to come up with was, in fact, there is this name on record, but it only went as far as to exactly what Candace had discovered, which is the name on record for a Cooper Brown is only registered to a female. So it's like nonsensical. And so who is this guy really? Who is this person? Shutting it down, if you will. And that extends itself to what seems to be where the narrative is going now. And I even said this when I was covering some of the last bit from Ian Carroll, and even Ian had said this, which is we're kind of getting to the tail end of what we can actually like theorize about the video footage that we have, which is why I think the chance to get the footage from TPUSA are going to get louder and louder. People are going to want to see more. We're kind of run through. We've squeezed all the juice out of the footage we have. So where does it take us now? Well, because we don't have the footage, the direction it's seemingly going now is actually people are going to the full blown, like it didn't even happen route. And there's like these actors, and supposedly these actors are, they're being trained, and Phil Lyman's being drawn into this. And so we'll cover a bit of that. I think I have the video. It was actually DM'd from me earlier, but that's kind of the direction it's going, which is, did it even happen? Is it even real? And that push will probably not stop anytime soon, especially when it's being pushed by people like Ryan Matta and others. And I encourage it. I mean, I want the truth. I'm not going to call these people dumb or anything. I do think some theories are obviously way out there, but just to acknowledge that we've reached the natural end of what we can see practically. And now I think the theories are going to kind of get beyond the pale a little bit. But that's kind of where Candace was at. And that's kind of like where my source was at. Basically, they could really only, corroborate the essentially exactly what Candace had made it out to. But the big thing about that, though, the second element from there was the bullet fragment. And so now this has kind of changed things tremendously. This is what it seemed like in the alternative media and the court of public opinion, the lead theory from the ballistics experts, from people like Zeb Boykin and others, was that the shot did not come from the front. Candace actually opposes that and says, no, it's been confirmed. She is confirming her end that it was a shot from the front. But this opens up multiple elements. She's now open to the idea that there's a possibility of that there was two shooters. Zeb even himself had said he was open to the idea that the smaller hole in the t-shirt's actually the entry wound and the exit wound is still the neck. The one thing that a lot of these guys are unwilling to back down from is the neck hole being the entry wound. And then I think also too, if it's not a 30-06 and the bullet fragment that was recovered is actually seemingly from a much smaller caliber, this also changes on two things. One, it's even more so to say there's no way that big of a hole is the entry wound. But secondarily, a lot of this look back on Phil Lyman, there's video footage of what seems to be the guy who was actually talking to Kirk when the shot had happened. He has this reaction where he's like, oh my gosh, he puts his hands on his head. Well, now there's video footage coming out now that supposedly this guy, before Charlie Kirk had even arrived, there's someone in the crowd has footage of this guy with what seems to be him practicing this reaction. It's very quick. It's like a couple seconds long. It's like a swing by of it. And I don't know. Again, I think when you try to build a case off of like human reaction and the way that people are behaving, I think it for multiple reasons, but I would say I don't buy into a lot of that. I think it's you can tell yourself a bajillion stories just looking at a 3-second clip and seeing the way somebody reacts and telling yourself that's exactly what they were doing. So don't buy too much into that. The thing that's more actionable on that in the actor, right, or were there actors here, how much of this was fake or a play, is the fact that there is a video of Phil Lyman recording this kid. And so when I say this kid, I'm not talking about the one with his hands over his head as a reaction. We're going back to the kid that Cooper Brown shut down and said, don't talk to these people, don't tell them the story. So the kid who was silenced, there's a video footage going around now of someone recording Phil Lyman in what looks like to be a female journalist or a female reporter. And she says, and if this is caught on camera, she says verbatim, 1, 2, 3, go. And then the kids start saying, and this is how I reacted. So that I will say is definitely odd. The part that they're kind of adding onto it, though, is they're saying it looks like Phil has a script in his hand. You can't see shit what's on that phone. So like, and again, we're like looking into people's reactions. They're looking at his face. They're like, wow, why is he smirking while doing this? I think you have to hold yourself back when you're going on all of these, the way people are acting. You don't know what's going on, right? Like you could record me at any random moment and I could be at a funeral and you go, why is he smiling? Well, little do you know, I just passed gas and I'm cracking up to myself, And so it's like, there's little things like that you don't know. There's too many moving pieces to sit there and say, I know for sure. And when I think about it too, like one of the things that bother me the most about any of this is when people go, I know for a fact. And I think what bothers me is that audacity there, the audacity to be like, I know for sure. It's like, come on. It's like, there's a healthy you can be healthily suspicious, but I think the moment that you move to, I know for sure, like you're putting your name on it. Like I assert this as truth, as a factual reality. Nobody can. I mean, the people who were there, the FBI could do a bit more of that, obviously with a bit more of a challenge of authenticity. But, when the whole thing is that everybody's kind of in the dark. We don't know what's going on. We're just kind of like picking up the pieces, if you will. And so I think that's what bothers me the most between anybody, whether it's Nick or whether it's Candace or whether it's Laura Loomer or whether it's any of these, neocon, Jew, shills, insert whatever. Like, it's like, to me that's the part where it's like, I can't. I think the one thing you can say that I will say is that I know I'm being lied to, but for what and for why and by who, that's where it begins to open up some more questions there. And yes, I am waffle over pancakes. Did somebody say pancake? Yeah, waffle supremacy. I'm right there with you, Tix. Who said that? Yeah, easily, dude. Easily. Pancakes are like slop. And that's not to say that I don't like them. I prefer waffles. If I have the choice, I'm always going to go waffle. So that's some from Candace Owens' latest episode. I try to keep up with where she's at on it. But the big thing being there, like now the 30-06, and the thing that opens up the door for a lot more questions there. But again, like I think the part that bothers most people is what seems to be like this omission or non-existence of an acknowledgement that people, the temperature in the room is that people are going, we don't believe anything, right? Like this seems fishy. And I think what gets bothered by people is when they consistently go, well, the FBI is handling it. Well, the FBI said this. And it's like, well, the majority of people like aren't buying any of that. So could we at least acknowledge that? But that's where Candace is at. And then she went to explore a little bit about the plane that was there and some of the military aspects of it. That to me, that's just a bit beyond the pale. But she finds something and good. I hopefully we get more, but who knows at this point. It seems like we're reaching the end of that, even being a griftable even thing, right? It's almost kind of like it's losing its luster. Everybody's making brand new videos about it. But with that though, the Candace and Nick feud has continued. And so I have a clip here. And so I am kind of curious what people's thoughts are with this. And I was kind of a little taken aback somewhat because it seems like Nick's almost pushing a bit more towards the official narrative being true. I think the part that bothers people is when you say official narrative being true. And I'll be honest, like I don't buy the official narrative at all. I don't buy the lone gunman. I just don't. And what did you say? Faison Cochrane put it up here. That's the biggest. No, cousin Fat. Why did the FBI release edited rooftop footage which starts seconds after the gun shop? Camera covers the entire roof. And it's 3 seconds. And we know they have those 3 seconds. Why would they not? Why, maybe, and almost it's like, are they purposely trying to get people pissed off? Are they purposely trying to get people like angry and like just be in this kind of provoked state? Not like they're miserable, but in this kind of provoked state. But there's 3 seconds literally of that footage that would show that he shot the gun. And it's just curious, why would that not be there? I think the omission of it would only opens itself up to be like not real, not true, not what they're telling us. And for what that reason is, I mean, we can only really speculate. But I did say, this is streaming live at 6, pull up or you're gay. To anyone who's not in here right now, you're gay. Also, I do want to say this. I got this cool new digital soundboard. I don't know if it's going to work. I think it will. Gay. Yeah, it works. Yeah, it works. That's awesome. But this is my favorite one, actually. We're going to be playing this. Dude, the next debate, I have somebody who's black. What'd you say, dude? Yeah, make sure you gently caress the like button. Make sure you touch it splendidly. Make sure you treat it like, no, that's probably a little too far for YouTube. So let's watch this video. And again, like I said, it's going to be a bit more relaxed today, a little bit more reactionary, but we have a lot to get into. And again, we'll be covering a bit of Vivek and a lot of this, a lot of the Groypers like pushing the envelope on not being co-opted by Indians. I love it. So let's do this here. Let me find, I made a new screen actually. Oh yeah, you can see the digital soundboard here. I did the cool thing, what all the cool kids are doing. I'm doing the half and half screen now. What we're doing is this one, right? Yeah. And I'm going to make sure it looks good too. I'm not sure how it's going to look.
And I don't.
But if I full screen it, okay. Hey, that's actually pretty nice. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's take a listen. This is Nick basically going at not even just Candace, but I think everybody, largely who's in the not believing the official narrative. The apology forms are ready, so let's take a listen there.
Like that, it seems that every fact that comes out is pointing towards the official narrative. Entry wound from the front, that points to the official narrative. And it seems like all the speculation is wrong. Israeli security team, wrong. The bullet wound was an exit wound, wrong. False. Trap door, false, had nothing to do with it. The private jet, false. The Dairy Queen that closed, wrong location, idiot. Different Dairy Queen. It's like all of these just asking questions, speculation. Don't get me wrong. I invite people to ask the questions, and who am I? But I mean, you're allowed to ask questions. But all the speculation with each passing day gets proven wrong. How about Tyler Robinson's text messages? They took issue with the fact that he used the term vehicle. They said that sounded stilted. In Tyler Robinson's text messages with the boyfriend, he said, I can't return to my vehicle. And people grasping at straws said, who says vehicle? I've never said vehicle. Except that we find body cam footage from an earlier traffic incident, and he says vehicle. And people say that all the time. It's like, so the just asking questions, it's just constantly getting destroyed by the facts, constantly getting blown up by the facts. And rather than people stopping and saying, you know what? Maybe the official narrative is true. Instead, they're always just throwing out more baseless questions and moving on to the next. Like the letter. We were led to believe for a month that the letter contained like a fuck you to Israel. And then they published it, and the letter was the opposite of that.
Well, this is the thing. So this is like the letter, I made the point, which is like the letter still is like this big kind of glaring thing that Candace, it was like the day that Netanyahu got on Fox News and was sitting there saying, what did she say? She was like, this makes me so uncomfortable. This makes me so, that you would lie to this degree. And we get it. And it's kind of a bit of both, right? And there's kind of two ways you can look at it. One, I think the charitable interpretation of it is you look at it and you go, he was trying to plead almost. That's kind of like why he glazes them in the beginning, but it's like he was pleading for them. He's like, please. He's like, maybe it's because it's like, he's losing money and he's losing sponsorships and it's hurting his bottom line, right? But it was clear he was pushing it in terms of, you need to carry more of your own water. Stop pushing this all on me. Specifically also too, he recommended that they stop going through so many influencers because they're butchering it so badly. The less charitable interpretation of it is basically him saying, please hurry up and change your messaging. I need better answers. I need better responses. I need all of this. It's, you need all these different, pleas for help to better your messaging. But the letter though still is a kind of like that glaring thing from Candace. I'm still curious, like if someone had just told her what they had known was on the letter and that's what she had said, or was it that she had been in possession of it for a little bit, kind of skimmed through it and had just an idea in her head. But this is him basically asking, for apology forms. I'll go ahead and play the rest of it here.
And what did the conspiracy theorists say? They say, well, was it emailed or mailed as a letter? Okay, what difference does it make? It's real. It's a real letter, and it didn't contain what you thought it said. But that doesn't stop them. On to the next. To the point now where it's like we're talking about Charlie Kirk told me in a dream. Go where the facts lead. So I just wanted to remind everybody, it's going to be a beautiful day in Vindication City. It's going to be a beautiful day in Right About Everything City because everybody knows me there. Everybody knows me there. I just got back from my trip to Right About Everything Always City. And yeah, they all know me there. And this is no different than any. Please get the forms ready. Get the ink.
Yeah, but I largely agree with everybody in here. I don't understand it. But maybe that's just because I don't give a shit about ego or winning a personal battle. But truth be told, I do think there's elements in both camps that I think have truth to them. And I think the ultimate thing though is we just want to know what that truth is. I could care less about who's more right. At the end of the day, I want to know, did a foreign government, kill a American citizen on American soil? And if so, then they need to answer for that. If it's not that, and it turns out it's closer to some level of a intelligence agency being in bed with like private donors to help carry out something because it was in a personal front between Charlie, it's like I would still want to know what the truth was. I still would want to know like what actually happened. But that's right. This is what we get, and this is my point. This is the people don't believe in anything. They can't. They literally cannot believe in anything anymore. And so the narrative now of did this even happen is now beginning to be what we're going to see a lot more in the Matrix. And for good reason, because no one can believe anything. So this is what the government deserves. This is what all of the political class deserves. This is what everybody involved who's angry that we keep asking questions deserve. You are not getting it through your heads that we do not trust you. You're not getting it through your heads how suspect all of this is coming out to be. You're not getting it through your heads that it doesn't matter. Quite honestly, like who's saying it? But that's the point though, which was MJ Truth Ultra, and I highlighted this a few episodes ago. Then he says if even Erica Kirk came out and said all this was true, yada yada, he still wouldn't believe it. If you can't appeal to anything, it doesn't matter. People are just going to believe what they believed in the first place. And so at the end of the day, then what's it matter? What's it matter? Right? What's it matter if everyone already has their own beliefs there? So just wanted to touch on that after I, touching the Candace aspect, that, I'm still playing both sides of it. We have a Qatari Air Force facility where we have, it's the funniest part about the Qatari Air Force facility is the fact that Laura Loomer has been tweeting nonstop. Laura Loomer even went so far as to say she's not even voting in the next election. She's having her crash out because Qatar did literally anything in this country. And so the first I even saw this story was from Clint Russell, and it did kind of blow me away. And so supposedly, from what I read and understand, is it's basically like a joint training facility essentially, and it being built in Idaho. And it's a way to not only just train Qataris on how to like fly F-15s, it's also to train their trainers. And I guess it's a normal practice. The more I looked into it, which I don't know if I like it, but I guess it's a lot more normal than what's being let on. Is so they basically, if we sell equipment that this country doesn't know how to use or whatever, any kind of special equipment or military, anything like that, the normal practice from us is to have some kind of training facility, some kind of joint training where we don't only just train them once they purchase it from us, but we have a system where we train their trainers, so then their trainers can then train their own people on it. I just think that it's Qatar is the reason why people are obviously angry about it, and why it's newsworthy or viral. And I don't enjoy how involved we are with all the foreign entanglement, but I will say I do think that the initial reaction to it was obviously, I think, because the rollout was so bad. Let me go up to grab this super chat here. From Don't Touch Me, I'm Crazy. For Candace, it's personal. For Nick, it's another news day. And I feel like there's just also a part of this that part of Nick's like stick revolves around needing a target. And not to say that that's bad, but I think that Candace Owens is that target right now. I do think that's I think it's honestly it's a good kind of style to have. If every day is you're kind of banging the drum at a specific target and then you move on and you have a new target, I think it's actually good. I think it actually is in and of itself an organic pressure campaign. Knowing every single night that when this pundit goes live that you're going to be talking about them. And funny enough, there's actually this series that's on Netflix, and I don't know how new it is or how familiar anybody is with it. I'll refrain from giving too many spoilers. But it's very political, and I try to follow anything like this, especially when it's it seems to be like pre-programming. It seems to be anything like almost as if the government's sending a signal ahead of time. And what they have in this, it's with Robert De Niro, and there's probably a few other like big name actors that's in this. And it's about like a 0-day commission. But one of the main people in it is actually, I don't know who he's meant to be, but he's a political pundit. And so it kind of shows how like in the government, this guy like can't get this one dude's head out of his, because this one political pundit is so good at getting zingers off on this former president. And it shows like how he sits in his office and he watches this guy every night and it makes him angry. And then he eventually does something, ultimately like very, illegal, and he shouldn't have against this guy. But it does show, I think there is an element that it's valuable, and provoking people is a part of the industry. It's a part of like the political environment, the way that these campaigns operate. And I do think that's like probably the biggest element that gets left out. Is like, this is just kind of what Nick's style is. The same way that Candace's style is have her whole entire stick revolve around being like an HBO series. It's like, next time on Candace, right? It's like, she's like got all these girly bits in it. It's like, it's clearly that she's selling a product for people that like that kind of product. The same way that a lot of people like tuning into Nick Fuentes, because it's like, it's provocative. You know what you're going to get. He's going to go hard against people, and people enjoy that. And I think for a lot of people, it's cathartic. It's a breath of fresh air. And I think he was that for a long time. That's why he has such a loyal audience, is because for years, nobody was willing to move to these positions. And truth be told, I put myself in those shoes. I resonate with that. I don't even know what it would be like to be like one of the few people who was willing to take all of the shots, say all of that in the dark, be shoved to the side of the corner in the dark side of the internet for that long. And then now when censorship starts to dissipate, everyone else almost is seemingly taking on the victories as if they were their own. And it would feel like a slight, and I try to think and put myself in those shoes. What would that be like, being the only person? And now everyone's saying it because it's politically okay, or, it's a lot more socially acceptable. And so I do think on those elements, I would be partial to understanding some of that anger, truth be told. But in terms of this Qatari base, the first thing I saw from it was actually from Clint Russell. And so let's put this one up. This is from Clint Russell, and he's talking about the bots in his likes. And this is clearly like one of the pressing issues because it's either Qatar or it's Israel. And that's the one element of it here too, which is like if I say, you know, I don't want Israel in my country, they go, oh, so you love Qatar. And then it's like vice versa, right? And it's like, how about neither? How about both of them can go fuck themselves? How about both of them can go figure it out for themselves? How about actually, you know what? I have a better idea. How about we sell you military equipment and I don't tell you shit? Figure it out. Just take it home and mess with it. I'll give you a nuclear warhead and tell you nothing. I'm not going to tell you what the green button does. I won't tell you what the blue button does. I won't tell you what the yellow button does. Figure it out. You want this stuff? Go ahead, take it. We're selling it to you at 300 times the price, and I'm not going to tell you how to use it. In fact, I'm going to make it harder for you. It's like I'm gonna shove a wrench so far into the electrical panel that if you tip it sideways, it's going off. But again, you know, and this is kind of like, I'm not partial to the military industrial complex whatsoever. Not even in the slightest. To this push, and obviously I understand there being pro elements to this, but still. So that's what this is, right? So we have Clint Russell. So he says, seeing as the bots my replies keep saying I'm funded by Qatar, you'll be shocked to hear me say this. This is garbage. There should be no Qatari base in America, nor should there be an American base in Qatar. Turn back, do not pass go, do not collect $200. And so what he's quoting here is from Disclosed TV. And this is, U.S. and Qatar signed a deal to open a Qatar Air Force facility in the U.S. at Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. Now, we'll go to the video here in a second, but the video I wanted to highlight, or the article I want to highlight, you know, from here from the Hill, if you just read a little bit deeper into it, it kind of basically explains to you that, right, the F-15s, it's meant to enhance our combined training, increase lethality, interoperability. Hickseth said. It's just another example of our partnership. So I guess it'd be a question here then of if this is as, if this is as innocent as what the Hill is making it out to be and what it's seeming is, and I really doubt it, quite honestly. You got to really question yourself, you know, do you go this where do we draw the line, right? Where do we draw the line of foreign involvement? Right? To have an ally in Qatar, does that seriously mean like we're expected to have their bases in our country? Is that like, this doesn't seem normal, right? This seems like one more step closer to globalism. It's like, why don't you keep your base over there? And for the necessity of it too. And then I think the argument against it would be, well, if we didn't do it here, we'd have to send our guys there. And it's like, it doesn't need to be this way. Right. It's like we're moving through these with assumptions that we don't need to have. How about we don't have the assumption that we need to be allies with anybody? Like we're America, bitch. Like, I mean, you probably have a lot more confidence saying that 10 years ago. I don't know how much it means anymore. But here's the video. So this is Secretary Hegseth. I think he's the only one from the Trump administration who has spoken publicly about this so far. But this is basically them talking before signing off on this.
We also value the close cooperation between Doha and Washington that led to the signing of the Gaza peace plan on October 8th. This historic achievement underscores what can be accomplished when our nations work together with courage and trust, amongst other partners such as Egypt and Turkey. We further welcome today's signing of the letter of acceptance establishing a Qatari Emir Air Force.
And I'm going to be honest too. If we have this technology, and this is the thing, all of this, right? All the fears are hinging on like national security, right? Everyone pushing back for Qatar, even having this airbase would say, hey, like, we don't think that's like, what about national security? But think about this. Philosophically, would it not be in our best interest would it not be in our best national interest to always withhold all military secrets, always withhold all technological secrets, always withhold, wouldn't that be what's in our best interest? Like, wouldn't selling it off not be in our national interest? Wouldn't selling it off be a short-term national interest benefit, but a long-term huge national interest loss? Why are we trying to get the rest of the globe to be on our level? I don't want the rest of the globe to be on our level. I want them to figure it out for themselves and always be 25 years behind. Because that's what it means to be the front runner, the world power in this nation. But again, how much of that cat is already out of the bag? How much of that's already signed into international law? How much of that, and so on and so forth. And you begin to ask yourself these questions and you very quickly go, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot, all the politicians before me sold out our country years ago. Never mind. That's already off the table. Anyways, here's the rest of them.
Facility and Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. This step strengthen interoperabilities, enhance joint readiness, and advance our shared defense goals. Mr. Secretary, together we will continue to deepen this strategic partnership in pursuit of lasting peace and shared security. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we wish you that.
Sign now.
Sign and trade. How about that?
Yeah.
And they basically sign it, and there you go. There's more foreign entanglement for you. There's more of everything that I don't want at all, literally at all. And the House is saying it's $2 trillion a year just to service the debt. They're getting money anywhere they can and don't care about our sovereignty. I mean, this is probably the reason why they're also like, what is it, the Golden Visa program? I think that's still full in effect. I think it's like it's $1 million or it's $5 million to fast track essentially your getting your green card here in the States. And I think that's just I think when I heard that, I was like, am I a communist? like am I a communist? Am I like, that's supposed to be a win for capitalism. And I'm sitting here going like, I couldn't feel any more emptier hearing those words leave my president's mouth. Like, that's not what, wait, what are we doing? And then I was like, no, wait a minute. I'm probably closer to a NatSoc, to be honest with you. And I think that's where I've moved to, especially in terms of in terms of labor as well. Once you understand that capitalism is inherently globalist, and specifically when you look at the what is it called? When you look at the labor aspect of it and the hiring of labor, it is obviously in the capitalist mindset, you would want to hire the cheapest labor that would get the job done, that would be at the quality, that would be the most acceptable for your product. And that's exactly what we are getting, which is instead of you being hired, the American worker, the higher quality product, they're hiring Indians and children from Chad and, and they're shipping over North Korean refugees. Like, it's like capitalism is not the answer then. If this is what, again, the same way you could ask about the Constitution, if this is what capitalism brought us, then I don't think it's the answer. I think it's broken. And maybe that requires some type of controlled capitalism. But I think the moment you begin to be open to the idea of there being controls in a capitalist society, it goes to socialism. I think that's like the automatic. The moment there's a hand in the market, that's socialism. And so, and I think a lot of the regular MAGA and the normal conservative people would always be opposed to that. But I do see that being one of the largest things that's holding us back, particularly because, what's one of the biggest discussions? Deportation, the H-1B visa discussion. There's two of them, a 1 million card and a 5 million card. Oh, that's disgusting. That is disgusting. Oh, Lord have mercy. 5 million. What does 5 million get you? Maybe the 1 million's like it takes 4 weeks, but the 5 million it'll get you done in a week. I don't know. But House is right. That probably isn't an attempt to help push back against the national debt that is getting bigger and bigger. Which I think this is actually a great segue to Marjorie Taylor Greene, the clip that was going viral of her, which she takes aim at the Trump administration. She takes aim at the Republicans and it didn't even hit me until I had seen that clip that I did begin to actually think about it, where I was like, remember how we talked about the economy constantly? And now that we have Trump in office, the economy's kind of stabilized a little bit. There are some markets that have been having some clear, obvious impacts to it. But my gas is still pretty expensive. My chicken still costs way too much. There's still not a dollar menu anywhere. When does the golden age start? Wouldn't that be the more of the marker of the golden age, was the economy being better? Wasn't that like the one thing that people, they could disagree with everything about Trump, but man, he's one thing he was good at was the economy. I don't know. And then I thought about it and I was like, actually, you're right. It does kind of feel like we've not gotten worse, but it's not gotten better. It's kind of just basically sat still. It's stayed. It's just chilling, if you will. But no, we'll go to the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing after this, because with this, the pro-Israel side is losing their mind. I think Owen Schroyer he made that like the whole topic of his live stream today, is the fact that how many people on the pro-Israel side are absolutely losing their minds. They're freaking out. They're raging out. And like I'd said with Laura Loomer, she's tweeted like literally about 40 times today talking about how she's not voting in the next election. She's everyone's all done. Now it's time to throw Trump under the bus. Now Trump has gone too far. It's with this one singular airbase in Qatar. And I'm not saying I like it by any means. The issue with them is like, someone goes, hey, Israel's doing this. I go, not in my country. They go, hey, Qatar is doing this. I go, not in my country. When they answer the question, they go, but Qatar. And when the other guys answer the question, they go, but Israel. Get out of my country. Please, God, please, Lord, please get these people out of my country. What will it take? What will it take? But again, maybe this is just a waiting game, and that's kind of what we have at the end of the day. But I wanted to play this. This is from Chad Catone. Someone can probably tell me who is familiar with him. I am not familiar with him at all. He doesn't seem to be the most trustworthy person. I'm not going to be rude by any means, but he does look like Captive Dreamer. So he writes, I felt I needed to do a video to chill some people out on the news. A Qatari military base is coming to the United States. He says that's not accurate. Chill. So this is about a 2-minute video of him, and we'll see how much you take of his word, right? How much do you think what he's saying is actually true, or is this more of trust the plan? Take a listen.
Hey, America, it's your boy Chad. There's a whole bunch of people losing their ever-loving mind right now because a Qatari base
It's so true.
is going to be here in the United States. Well, let me break it down for you. This isn't new. We've been doing this for a long time with our allies. When we sell our equipment, like let's say an F-18. Well, you don't just send over a user's guide and try to figure it out. We bring these guys over, we sell them the equipment, and then we train them and we train their trainers so that they can utilize that equipment in everything they do in their country, because we sold the equipment to them as an ally. This has been going on for a very long time, and this isn't new. I don't know why everybody's losing their ever-loving mind about this. Maybe the way it was put out as to say a Qatari base is going to be put in the United States, when in fact, actuality, it is going to be a part of a base where they are going to be training on this equipment on a U.S. military installation. Let's say they're frenemies. Let's say we're worried about them. Okay, well, now we have a whole bunch of people that are going to be talking back and forth to Qatar that we can listen into way easier on a military installation or anything else. All of those things considered, this is geopolitics at its finest, and the United States has always tried to sell our equipment and make sure those people are prevalent in that equipment in order to utilize the equipment as our ally. For those of you who don't know, Qatar has a huge American base on it, where there is a big supply and where a lot of our Middle East operations would be supplied out of.
So you get the gist. This is some of the argument coming back against all of the pushback from people. And you can even see some of these comments here from people that was like, I think the issue was the rollout. And that's basically the way that I took it too when I read it, was that like, it read as if like, we're just like, here's a base. Qatar owns land in America now. It's just like, W America for sale. It's, it like threw me off the way I had read it. I think the article puts a little bit of that to bed. It's still not good. It doesn't feel good. And then he throws it up with this. Well, this isn't new. We have trained 172 countries in this country. But I think that's the question, right? Which is like, do we need to? Like, And the thing is, it's like, obviously I'm not retarded. I understand hard power, soft power, that, you know, you can only be isolationist so far as trade will let you be. And that is an issue, right? In terms of like prescription medication and a few other like very strong staple elements that America is not good at. Well, could, but it's not currently producing at a level that we would need. We're just not self-sufficient. But the bigger question is like, do we need allies? And I'm going to be honest, like, can anyone tell you, does anyone have a story here of an ally from another country that was just so meaningful to you, you would be heartbroken if we weren't their ally anymore? Has Israel donated money to you guys? They came and saved you from a hurricane. Did someone from the UK come and stop by at your house and see if you were still worshiping the good Lord Jesus Christ? No. So like, I just like, they keep pushing this as if like the average American person is like, that's just the way it is. And this is what I mean when like they take for granted that the average person is retarded. The average person literally is retarded. But they take that for granted. They think that they can just say, well, our allies, and we've done this before, that the average person goes, oh, we did do it before. What did that guy say? The guy stats say? He said, I'm going to put it back on screen. Or not this one. And not that. It's right here. It's have it highlighted. He says this isn't new. So Chad Catton is saying, Chad Catone or whatever. He says, we have trained 172 countries in this country. Now, I doubt that we've had 172 bases built for 172 different countries, but maybe they've came to our facilities and trained. The Qatari getting their own base, I think, is a step above. But again, I'd have to check into it a bit more. But that's the thing, right? Like, they say these things about, they take it for granted. And not even they take it for granted, they expect it. They expect that the average person is just not going to push back because they don't know any better. They're not going to. They don't even, and the other part of it, they don't have the time. They don't have the time. They don't know where to even begin to look these things up. And truth be told, when the average person is working like a shit job and they're not being paid much and they come home and their wife is telling them how much they love this random actor and that they're not getting laid tonight, that they just sit there and they go, I would rather just watch TV. I would rather just turn on the TV and sit here and think about nothing. So like that's where it's like, I get it. You know, I get that this is politics is a swamp. It is a shithole. It is a shit swamp that you have to wade through. And they take advantage on all those elements, right? Bread and circuses and stuff. And it's pushing back against that. But I don't know who this guy is. He's got like 60,000 followers. I think I've never seen him before. So maybe anyone else is like familiar with that at all. Whoever this Chad Catton is. I'm more so just disappointed. I'm gonna put this back on screen. I'm more so disappointed from Native Patriot who says, I don't know why this is so hard to understand. Listen, dog, like I'm good friends with the Native Patriot. I've spoken to him a couple of times on his show. Or on his show, might have been just on mine and jar openers, but I've had a couple of conversations with them. I don't want to start anything, but I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't get why this is something that we should want or push for. And to act just because it's normal. You know what else is normal? That there's been blackmail operations in this country for God knows how long. And just because it's normal, it's happened, doesn't mean it's like it needs to keep happening. Or because it's precedent doesn't mean that we need to do everything in our power to make sure that it never happens again. Like, I don't know, man. I try not to I try my best to not take shots at other people. But at the same time, I don't think my personality type is allows for that. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, it just doesn't make sense, dog. It just doesn't make, like, why are you boosting Jimmy Neutron over here, dog? Like, and I get it. And maybe it's from this weird sense of like wanting to unify, right? We want to have unity. Want to have unity. I don't want unity. I want my side to win. I want the left to be crushed so bad that the left, it has to go through a 2,000-year process to rebuild itself. I want to destroy the left so bad. It reads as like Kronos from Greek mythology, broken into so many pieces and scattered across Tartarus to such great depths that it would be an impossible task for even a god to do it. like that's what I want them to do left. I don't want unity. I don't at all, you know, and not especially when still after everything, right? I saw a story the other day, or earlier today actually, where there's a professor at Rutgers who's getting a petition going around who wants to disband and disallow any TPUSA chapter or organization on Rutgers campus. It's like, it's not stopping. They won't stop. Bob, this is going to be one of the few times I will acknowledge you in here. But this is an easy one. I am always right. I've never been wrong, actually. And he says, yeah, my hijab. You mean like the classic American bandana, dude? You mean the classic motorbike bandana that's like, that's going out of style? Listen, Doug, I'm a redneck more than I am anything else. I was born in the boonies. I rode my bike into town. It was about a 20-minute ride. Listen, I'm more American than about 98% of you. Trust me. Listen, got to bring back the motorbike bandana. Yeah, out here in the Midwest. I'm living in a trailer park right now, brother. It's always good to see you, Bob. I actually am. I admire your tenacity. I wouldn't expect to see it all the time. But that's it for the Qatar Air Force facility. Obviously, it seems to be aggressive. No, that's right. We had a bit more from Harrison Smith, actually. Cover this here. Harrison Smith actually discussing some of the reaction from the pro-Israel people to this. To this. And no, actually, that was actually no. Forgive me. This is in a slightly different note, not against the Qatari airbase, but the peace deal, because obviously the peace deal has been moving along. And that's maybe the bigger story of today, which is that, yes, U.S. troops will be on the ground in Gaza/Israel, whatever you want to deem there. 200 troops. Now, it's funny because Fox News pushed a weird kind of, Fox News broke the story, I think, but the community note that went viral on X said, actually, they're not being deployed from the U.S., they're being deployed from like CENTCOM. And they're always there ready to help any of these other countries. There's like 20 countries that these 200 troops could be assigned to at any moment. And then people were like, that's even worse. What do you mean we have U.S. troops ready to die for foreign countries at a moment's notice? It's like, you know, I think at the end of the day, the average American is very, very ready to be done with the world police. We're done, right? I think the left hasn't got there yet, but who gives a fuck about the left? The left is non-existent, in my opinion. But we're done. We're done with the word policing. We're done watching all of our American citizens just get, you know, sent to random countries to go defend whatever. It's tiring. And I think the majority of us are over it. But here's Harrison Smith, giving about a 3-minute clip here of, and the caption says, "The only people I've seen being against the peace deal are members of the Israeli government." So here we go.
Middle East peace deal, assuming that it comes to fruition and that the stages are deployed as they are designed to be deployed, that we don't get into, you know, some sort of nuclear conflict with Iran, which again seems to be what Netanyahu was trying to push over the last little while, and I can show you some clips from that. But it seems like everybody except for Benjamin Netanyahu is thrilled about this peace deal, including President Putin of Russia. Let's go to clip number 7 here. This is President Vladimir Putin talking about Trump's Gaza peace plan. Let's watch. He says the situation in the Middle East, then on the background, humanitarian tragedy and catastrophe in Gaza, where there's an active search for options to end the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. President Trump put forward a famous initiative, and how did you see Russia supported them almost immediately? We see what's happening now here, achieved, according to information from the media, final decision. We really hope so. These initiatives of the President of the United States will actually be implemented in practice. This initiative, from the very beginning, was generally positively received from Arab and Islamic world in general. Main two, I repeat again, it will all be realized. I emphasize, Russia has always proceeded and proceeds from that. How to solve the Middle East problem can only be done by political means. We are naturally ready to support any peace efforts aimed at that, to stop the bloodshed and bring calm to the region. I think you will agree with me.
Yeah, so obviously Putin's very, very glad this is happening. One thing that was kind of, I guess, eye-opening to a lot of people was the way that Russia had kind of positioned itself during the, whatever they're calling it now, the 12-day or 14-day war for the, for this peace deal. And the reason why it was eye-opening during the Iran development in the Iran war was because people were expecting Russia to be a lot more involved than what they were. Only then, though, did people begin to realize that their relationship is a lot more economic than it is in terms of an actual defensive alliance agreement. And then it was let known that there's, in fact, I think it's like over 1 million. There's like over 1 million Russians in Israel. And so they have almost kind of like a reverse diaspora. There's like all these Russians in Israel, which is like odd. Let me see this here. Somebody, Michigan Groper says, I don't believe this from Harrison. I think this would be the best I've ever pulled off. Probably the last, because after they will just silence, jail, or kill you if you disagree. Yeah, I think this is, being against the, well, here's the thing is the day literally the moments after the peace deal was announced, there was two major Israeli channels that were very vocal in their dissent against it. The first was, I believe, the popular one, which is Israeli Channel 12. They made a comment along the lines of, oh, Trump must be really hungry for that Nobel Peace Prize. The second channel said something similar to that effect, but they immediately started talking shit about Donald Trump. And if that's the media circle there in Israel, I can only imagine that's also a reflection of different Orthodox circles there in Israel as well. And I believe he didn't even get the Nobel Peace Prize. I haven't checked up on that, but I think I saw some people talking about that earlier today. The Russian aspect of this has been puzzling for sure, especially because it's almost like they're playing both sides of it. Even early on, they'd made comments when they had opened up that their borders for Americans to escape the fall of the West, essentially, seemingly in line with a lot of the pro-Israel stuff. So I'm unsure where Putin really kind of sits at in all of this, honestly, and it's kind of hard to tell because he is a dictator.
It was
do whatever he wants.
Position of the Soviet Union, and so she inherited all the republics, former USSR. We believe what main indispensable condition for long-term stabilization and resolution of all issues related to this difficult problem, main condition is the creation of an independent Palestinian state. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that 2 years of devastating war against Gaza would end in a Palestinian state? Putin voices support for Trump's Gaza plan, sees creation of Palestinian state as solution. So Trump's for it, all the Arab nations are for it, Hamas is for it, Putin's for it, which means Iran is for it. Now, Iran might actually have a seat at the table here. They were mentioned as one of the countries being involved in the Board of Peace, which, again, do you think Israel wants that? Do you think that's what their plan was for the end of the Gaza war?
No, I'm going to ask you guys, because this is one thing I've noticed, and I would imagine a couple of you in the audience have noticed as well. the other autists in the crowd, Lord forgive me, is that doesn't it seem like we have made multiple pro-Qatar like moves in the last couple of weeks? So, for example, I'll just rattle off a couple. So the Qatari Air Force Base, for one, right, seems to be a very, very public, openly pro-Qatar to bolster that relationship. The second thing, which many of you may not know, the White House posted a literal black and white cinematic noir, LA noir style photo of Donald Trump holding the phone while Benjamin Netanyahu reads off the apology to Qatar. Yeah, you can see the outrage from Laura Loomer, Mark Levin. There's a few others like that that are spurting out like this. And then you also look at the way the peace deal is being handled outright, which is seemingly like Trump is being a lot more vocal in terms of telling Netanyahu to get with it. All of this I find to be curious, very curious, because I'm hoping that the government wasn't going, well, you know, I guess we'll find another government to give over all of this over to, and I really don't think it's that by any means. It's just, is all of this an attempt to assuade the public as if there is an ongoing like back and forth, or is there a legitimate real push for Qatar? Is Qatar actually matching Israel in the propaganda campaign? Are they putting their guys in our Congress seats? You know, and I'm not sitting here saying, obviously I'm anti-Israel. I'm just saying with all these things happening, and if you were somebody who was in the camp of believing that Nick got the call, you would add that also on top of all of this. And you would say, is Qatar wielding money in the dissident right circle? Questionable. It's just to say, I've seen it happen. I'm just noticing these things. I don't have any proof of anything. I just find it to be odd. Find it to be very, very odd. And specifically, and I'm glad you just said that, Ronnie, because what were we just talking about? That America is seemingly doing anything for $1. And Qatar being a very rich nation, it's just curious. It is curious. And Michigan Groper saying he thinks it's Jewish influencing China to move in, and that could be too, right? And that could be the element of, again, this is the left-hand side of the bird, right? Is this just an attempt to mask, right? Or is this the left hand of the Jewish power monolith that is trying to, you know, shake the curtains a little bit to make you think something's going on that's not actually there? There's a lot of possibilities there, but I do find it to be very curious, especially because it's a stark contrast to what we've seen the last 2 years. Right. And now if Qatar does start to get more and more into the social media space, I would have to imagine on two things. Maybe this was astroturfed. This wasn't even supposed to be big of a story as it is, but it was astroturfed by some of the funding that's coming in from the Hezbollah campaign from Israel. Instead of pushing for more pro-Israeli propaganda, they'll spend all of their money to boost posts about this Qatar thing to make it seem like Qatar is a much bigger influence than what it is. Could be that too. There's a bunch of different ways you could kind of look at this. I just find it to be curious because it seems to be rhetoric that wasn't in the political climate as of, I don't know, 6 months ago, outside of the Tucker Carlson line of attack, which was just to anybody who is anti-Israel, it was thrown against them like they're pro-Qatar. But it seems like this rhetoric is elevating itself from being the tribalistic yes and no to a bit more of like it actually has stronger, sustenance in the American government and the American involvement. Just very curious. I figured I'd give you my honest opinion, my honest take, and that's why the show is called Offensively Accurate. It's not called I Tell You What You Want to Hear. I did think about the other day, I was like, should I rename the show More of the Same? Because that seems to be every goddamn day. Forgive me. Try not to cuss as much. Welcome back to More of the Same. Your American government is... oh, look at that. They're raping you every day of your life. More of the same. Welcome to tuning in to More of the Same. No, I didn't want to take on a sad tag or a title like that. Okay, getting into some more of the reactionary stuff and, again, more Israel stuff. This is one thing I think I would like to pose a challenge, actually, to anybody. Welcome to Galaxy Cruising with Atlas Thug. I could probably do like I could do like video game reviews. I could do like movie reviews. I pick like the one thing that's like it's like super AIDS to be involved with. But it's because there's purpose in it. You know, I want my country back, man. At the end of the day, I want my country back. I really want my country back, dude. I really would like my country back, man. I would really like to honor my ancestors who built this place. But anyways, moving into more Israel stuff. Glenn Beck got mauled at a Turning Point event by what seems to be Groypers or maybe some Charlie Kirkers, right? we're going that route. But he does get mauled. And I think this is for anybody who acts as if this isn't as much of a problem or it's being blown out of water. I think what people should do is if they're regular news watchers, what they need to do is just have 10 files. Have 10 files, and on each of the files, you just write a title, right? You go, on this file is economy, on this file is deportations, on that file, you could just put culture war, on that file, you could put Hollywood, and then on that file, I want you to put Israel. And every day, I pulled the bandana too far. And every day, what you need to do is when a news story happens, you go, is Israel involved in this? Okay, you go, okay, you put that in that file. You will not make it 2 weeks before that file, you will need a second file. you will need a second and third and fourth file while you're still on the first files of all the other ones. And then maybe then a physical exhibition will help. Seeing it in person, right? Seeing it visualized. We're getting Play-Doh out for the kids. Okay, guys, like here's your. Now, is the blue block bigger? Yes. How much bigger? I don't like to treat people like that, man. But some of y'all just you need it. You need it given to you like you're in kindergarten. And that's part of the reason why I named the show Offensively Accurate. It began to occur to me that the more and more I had conversations and the more and more I thought about if I wanted to talk to somebody and I wanted to say exactly what I wanted to say, not because I want to be offensive, but because I just want to say what I would like to say, I'm going to offend this person. Now, granted, a large portion of all of those conversations were because like I'm very anti-feminism. So in that light, I'm typically going to probably offend this guy because I'm going to say that he is whipped by his wife. But there's other elements that would offend people, and that's what I just said. Like that's what the truth is. The truth is, you don't have to say inconvenient truth, right? That's what do they call it? A double entendre? I don't know. You don't have to say that because the truth always is convenient. The truth is offensive. The truth is, more accurately, the definition of truth is the things that people do not wish to hear. That's a way you could describe truth. That is what truth is. So when you say inconvenient truth, it's like you're just saying truth. Right? Truth is always inconvenient. The truth can be a lot of things, but it is largely, for most people, uncomfortable and offensive. And that's why this show's going to be offensively accurate. And I'm glad somebody said cigarillos earlier, because truth be told, I think I've only said this like once or twice. Hey man, you got cigarillo, Carbone? I'm going to be honest with everybody here. And I think I've told Donnie this story before. I might have told House as well too. When I had my firstborn son, I was making trips from Columbus to Cleveland. It's a short story, and I'm not going to rip your ears off too long. Short story, but I was making trips from Columbus to Cleveland. My baby mother didn't want to be in Columbus anymore, but I was going to the Ohio State University, and I wasn't going to drop out, so I was making it work. I was forcing myself. It was literally hell on earth. I was everyday classes, never see my friends. I had to drop all the extracurriculars I was doing because I would most days be making a there and back. So 3 hours there, 3 hours back, 6 hours of my day automatically gone just by driving. So what I did in those instances, because I was young and dumb, and I also I was a smoker back then. I smoked a lot more. I mean, I'm still a smoker just with vapes now. I smoked cigarillos. I didn't smoke cigarettes. And I think it was because I had about 3 years of doing that daily in the car for 3 hours. I'd buy 3 of the 99-cent packs. I'd smoke all of them before I made it to Cleveland. So if you want to know why my voice is the way it is not because God blessed me with a deep voice. It is because I physically destroyed it by smoking cigarillos, and it just happened to not sound that bad. So like, it's not like any kind of crazy blessing. It's just because like it's smoker voice, but I stopped it early, so I kept cool aspects of it, I guess. But going to Glenn Beck though, I told you the story would be short. We go back to streaming RuneScape. I still play. This is okay. Well, before I go to that, I'll go to see what Michigan Groper says. He says, I wanted to say, look into Israel attack on Qatar's leadership in Doha. And it draws lots of questions with this Qatar base on U.S. soil. Interesting. Was that the one that Trump made him apologize for? Was it? I think that was the... Oh, like why we're on both sides of this. Interesting. Oh, yes. So this was the one that Trump made him apologize for. Yeah, it was so it was a decapitation strike. Who were they after in that? Okay, I'll just spend time looking at that off stream. So I'm not wasting your guys' time. But definitely, I got it down here. Let me put it in my notes, actually. Let me put it in the notes. Qatar attack on Doha and connection. Good looks, Michigan Groper. Yeah, did they regime change successfully? Something. That's why I'm just going to look that up to see who died in the Doha strike. So we have this here from Wikipedia. Actually, we'll put this on screen. But like, there's too much bright light going on. Prepare your eyeballs. It was in the La Katifa in Qatar of Doha, targeting the leadership of Hamas, housed in a Qatari government residential complex. But the attack was Israel's first known attack in Qatar, and it was its first strike on a Gulf Cooperation Council. Interesting. Okay. So that's who it was. 4 senior Hamas figures: Khalil Al-Hayya, Zahir Zabaron, Muhammad Ismail Darwish, Khalid Marshall. So I guess we'd have to look these up. These are all, I would imagine, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Yeah, so it was more so, yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'd have to go. I don't know if it was Darkman, please. I'm sorry. Let me get it off screen. I'm sorry. You should see how my eyes feel. That's funny. Yeah, I'd have to go find that. I think it was Ian Carroll. I can't remember who had it. It's Ryan Dawson. That's who it is. Ryan Dawson. I don't know why I was thinking of Ian Carroll first. Yes, White is right. Always. But it was Ryan Dawson had this great graphic where it had all of from Khamenei all the way down, like all of the different generals, and not even just that, like who was under them, who their trainees were, who their second in commands were, what they were in charge of, and whether it was like Air Force, or whether it was like the air defense, or whether it was like information, and so I would imagine that those guys who were taken out in Qatar were probably like one of the 3rd or 4th level groups of those guys, because as I was following the specifics of who was being killed during all of those attacks, it basically was like 1st row gone, 2nd row gone, 3rd row gone. And even beyond that, there was also reports that in addition to all the full-blown assassinations, they had like, they were holding certain information against like families, trying to convert them to be double agents and things like that. And yeah, it is crazy, right? Yeah, Hamas was built. Hamas was built, funded, founded, and created by Israel. Yeah, if anybody listened to what's his name, Ron Paul back in the day, they would have known that a long time ago. But to go to Glenn Beck, because again, we're also still in the area, which is Israel. which is Glenn Beck is getting mauled at a TPUS event by Goipers. And so this is from Chief Trumpster. This is going viral. I've been seeing it getting pulled and plugged by a lot of people. There is music in it, but I don't care if it gets me at the stream, whatever. I'll share revenue with whoever it is. It says, Chief Trumpster, Glenn Beck looks petrified by these questions. It's refreshing to see how many young people waking up. And so I think it's not just this kid. I think there's a couple. It's like a little compilation here, but here it is.
Israel has an overwhelming lobby over the United States government, and we have unconditionally supported them. We have fought their wars in the Middle East. Bibi Netanyahu came to our Congress in the 90s, told us a list of countries that we need to take out. Some were Syria, Iraq, Iran, Libya, etc. Through those wars, we have lost trillions of dollars. We have lost American servicemen.
We're lobbying everybody else, and they will...
No one's clapping. No one's clapping for your turn. Charlie was starting to notice about the Israel lobby.
Could I answer my question? Could I answer the question, please?
You're talking about one thing they don't teach in school? They don't teach about the USS Liberty, where Israel literally came, blew up an American ship because they want us to get in their war with Egypt, and they don't teach that in school. I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your question.
I have a question. Why is there this societal taboo around criticisms of Israel? For example, AIPAC doesn't have to register as a foreign lobby, but like the Australia lobby does. And it just
that should be changed. That should be corrected. Look, I am not going to say Israel should have any special privileges. None.
I was muted. The great noticing. The kids are going to be okay. Keep the pressure up. I'm, in truth be told, you guys might appreciate this. I am going to be looking up events happening in Ohio coming up, and your boy will be making some of his first Graper appearances as I will question some of these individuals. Vivek, I believe, is doing a tour in Ohio, so if I can catch him, you better believe I will have a list of prepared questions for Vivek Ramaswamy. And as well as so many what other public events I can attend. I would like to probably start doing that a bit more. More so because like I literally don't care. Like I'm not going to be like Women Propaganda or HT or Alex Stein even, but like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you call me racist. I don't care if you call me a white supremacist. I don't care if you call me a Nazi. I don't care if you call me anything for that matter. Don't care at all. And I think that's what some of these boys need to see. Not being so afraid, not being so timid. And I would just also like to say that in person to Vivek and let him know how I feel before he runs this state into the ground, or rather runs it into a pile of cow shit. But that was a great moment there. Glenn Beck getting mauled. And secondarily, what's the other one? We had, let me find this. Where's the other one? It's with Vivek. Here it is. So there's two here. Here's the first moment, and this is the one that's going viral. The kid's name is Jeremy Carl. Yes, Jeremy Carl. And so he even posted it himself. And this is a quote from Elijah Schaefer. He wants to get him on the show tonight because this clip's going viral. But it's about a 3.5 minute back and forth between Vivek and Jeremy Carl. And Vivek is shamelessly lying. Like, we'll just roll the clip.
Hi, Vivek, you would profess to be a conservative, correct?
I'm a proud conservative.
If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth. Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God. He is part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith?
I love it, dude. Every other God is a demon. It is not the truth. There's the one true God. His name is Jesus. The Lord is Jesus Christ. It is not Shiva. We do not worship demons in this country. I love it, bro. I love it. I love it.
Like I said, I'm not here to justify my faith to you any more than you are to me. But what I do share is the value set this country was founded on. And I think that it's really important.
The value set this country is founded on was Christianity, by the way. Continue, Vivek.
That we not reinvent the founding of this country and what it was actually all about. The founding fathers, they had an opportunity to write a religious code just like most other nations in human history. All right, founded either on a monarch or a particular faith or a particular lineage. That's where most nations in human history are founded. Not America. We are the only country in the human history where there is a set of civic ideals that brought together a divided polyglot group of people 250 years ago, where freedom of conscience was a core belief set of our founding fathers, all the way to Thomas Jefferson. You know who he is? You know what document he signed?
The Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, and what was his belief system?
He was a deist.
He was a deist. Our third president, the man who signed this nation into existence, was a deist. Do you know who Benjamin Franklin is?
Yes.
Do you know what his belief system was?
He was Quaker, yes.
He was also a deist, similar to Thomas Jefferson. So what I think that we often do is we talk about U.S. history. I have a better suggestion. Let's actually consider reading U.S. history. Consider studying U.S. history. Learn the founding of our country, and that's what made our founders, I believe, the most extraordinary people known to the history of man. We would do well to actually respect their legacy rather than to reinvent some sort of imitative version of every other nation in human history. That's not us.
Well, and here's the thing. What pisses me off actually even more than that is when he leads this by saying, well, the founding fathers could have done that, but they didn't, did they? It's, dude, bro, like dude, I'm right there with you, Donnie. Like, dude, it makes you want to actually physically, like, Ohio needs, what's that mutual combat laws? Mutual combat laws. Aaron Michael Shepard, I challenge Vivek Ramaswamy to mutual combat for the governor position of Ohio today. Challenge issued. Debate, no, we're fighting. We're fisticuffs, dog. Pugilist. And it bothers me too, man. And this idea that, like, yeah, the whole goal of the founding of the country is if the Constitution is not God breathed, as if the Constitution is not primarily, if not completely, pulled entirely from the Bible. But it gets better.
I'm sorry, that's what makes America great, and that's why I am proud to be an American. This is the country that I will die fighting for if I have to, because it stands for those ideals, and that's why we're here.
Right, so
keep praying and pledge allegiance to the flag, my friend. Thank you.
Of course, Christ is king, but my response to that would be the same,
dude, let's go.
Same way that my church would let a practicing Hindu, a practicing Muslim, a practicing Jew come in and enter and worship with us on a Sunday morning. That person would not be allowed membership. I'm not saying don't give other religions citizenship. I'm just saying you can have freedom of religion in an extremely religious environment. And that is what our founding fathers intended. If you look at the structure of our government, it is a replication, a mirror of the structure of Reformed churches in America in that time.
Absolutely. I think our nation was founded on Judeo-Christian principles. The question is, what are those?
Look at that. Judeo? What? Judeo what?
The question is, what are those values? They're the values enshrined in the Ten Commandments. Do we share those values in common? You're darn right we do. And I think that people of most faiths across this country share those values.
Oh, I got a perfect one for that. Judeo what? Where's his reaction? Look at that. Judeo what? Judeo what?
Oy vey.
Dude, I can't believe they let that on the soundboard.
The question is, what are those values? They're the values enshrined in the Ten Commandments. Do we share those values in common? You're darn right we do. And I think that people of most faiths across this country share those values in common. What we're failing to do is actually standing for those values in the government as it actually runs. And so, what I suggest is study U.S. history, study what made the country great. And if you think Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin were not eligible to be founders or leaders of the country because they were deists, then you and I respectfully have a difference of opinion. And yet the beauty of our country is we're still able to have that difference of opinion and still call ourselves fellow citizens. Thank you, my friend, all right?
Thank you very much, Vivek. Have a great rest of your day. God bless you. Christ is King.
Thank you, my man, all right?
And that wasn't the only instance. So that was from Jeremy Carl, which Jeremy Carl did a great job. And props to him for doing so, actually. There's another moment. Elijah Schaefer also caught this one as well. Believe this is a compilation. Yes, it's a 2.5 minute compilation because it's not just Jeremy Carl. It's a girl and another guy there. Yeah, that's the guy I wanted to see. This guy. I think this guy actually did a little bit better of a job. Let's take a listen here. Hopefully there's no music playing, but who cares at this point?
Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God.
Our end of argument. Okay, bye, India. Argument's over. Okay, bye, India. Hindus, or whatever you call yourselves. Bye. Oh, I see. You wear... okay. Red dot on the forehead? All right. Denied. Back to India.
He's part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God.
Oh, that might be too loud for you guys. Let me turn it down. I have an expander on some of these videos so I can boost that low audio.
God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth.
Christian voices should be the main voice of America, and I want to know basically why you seem to be, and I don't mean to be horribly offensive, but why you seem to be masquerading as a Christian.
You familiar with the Ten Commandments?
You call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States of America. What's your faith?
I'm a Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus.
Great. Do you believe in the Holy Trinity? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit?
I think a lot of people here do. So
good. And that doesn't make you a polytheist, does it?
Probably not, no.
Great. And so in my faith, I believe there's one true God. He resides in all of us, and he appears in different forms, but it's one true God. So I'm an ethical monotheist. That's the way I would describe my faith. Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be, say, a U.S. president?
No, I think it's... No, well...
You be honest.
Isn't Hinduism...
Because you're an Indian.
I can ask yourself that. Hinduism...
Dude, no. Is that Ann Coulter? I didn't catch it the first time I grabbed it. Bro, I remember that moment. She said it so straight up, dude. And imagine that. And imagine that, like, it's like when people say that, they get offended. It's like when someone says, like, no, because you're white. And it's like, I am white. Oh, dude, I love it.
Believes in Shiva and, what is it? The flute. God, I forget.
Right, Krishna, who's you're thinking of?
Yeah, Krishna. But isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on Christian values as well? And isn't the United States of America also, based on what Protestantism is, based on how those values are? Wouldn't that contradict what your beliefs are?
Like I said, I'm not here to justify my faith to you any more than you are to me. But what I do share is the value set this country was founded on. And
Run that back one more time, Vic.
Wouldn't that contradict what your beliefs are?
Like I said, I'm not here to justify my faith to you anymore.
But you better. You bet. So we have an ethnic Indian pleading his case for why America should not be what it originally was, but masquerading that argument as if he is making the argument that he is arguing for what America, original intention was. Yeah. If you're going to be the next president of the United States and you're going to practice a faith that has not ever been held by a president of the United States, you better justify it to the American people. Of course you need to. Imagine saying that. Imagine being like, I'm running for the president of the United States and my faith has, and I'm not going to justify my faith to you. It doesn't have anything to do with who I am as president. Excuse me? He's just going to just gloss over that as if it's like, doesn't have a major impact. You're just going to gloss over that. Like, dude, he's a slimy, disgusting person.
My faith to you any more than you are to me, but what I do share is the value set this country was founded on. And
No, you don't. You don't. You just don't. This country wasn't founded on being open. But again, everybody already knows this. It's the disgusting aspect of him masquerading as if like he is. I'm arguing for exactly what the founding fathers argued for. Yeah.
And I think that it's really important that we not reinvent the founding of this country and what it was actually all about.
And that's the part that pisses me off the most. That's exactly what he's doing. That is exactly what he's doing. Acting as if every village, every town, every city, all of the original founding colonies in this nation, as if they didn't have all of these charters for Christianity. I think there was literally only one state that didn't have a charter that was like in a glass box you could find in the mayor's hall. Vivek is a disgusting, lying Indian. He is all of the stereotypes, and he's doing it effortlessly. And it's sad too. Imagine doing all of this, making your argument about this multiculturalism stuff, and you're wearing whiteface. It's like, it's a lie. It's a lie. It's an outright lie. It's an intrinsic lie. It is, everything about it is a lie. But yes, Vivek is a demon worshiper, and he needs to be rejected. But I have a strong feeling Ohio is going to vote him in. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't the case. Truly, I really do. But I'm going to be honest. From the way I see it here, he's getting voted in. And many of you might not know this, but Ohio is the heart of America. And what I mean by that is there's literally no other state that can represent America. And so when you look at different metrics, right, you can look at all these. If you look at demographics, for example, Ohio is the state that comes the closest to representing what the national demographics are in the country. So let me find this here. I'll put it on screen for you. Let me see. This is what would that be? And then, so let's do that. And then national. Demo. Why wouldn't it do by ethnicity? Okay, well, we're not doing the widescreen. By race, there we go. Okay. So yeah, let's see this here. Let me blow this up a little bit. You see that? Race. So 77.82 white. Explain this. Explain this. Yeah, so about 78% white, 12.5% black, or 12.3, 2.5% Asian, 4.4% Hispanic. That might be the one that's actually probably. When is this taken from? I would need to see a newer one. 2022. Okay, so I would need to see another one, but that's from 2022. And then let's see, where is it at? The nation, right? So the nation is at 61, 12% black. So like almost identical black population. A lot less white. But where's the difference here? Hispanic. Okay, so multiracial is being thrown in with Hispanic. That seems a little off. But it's like Ohio, and there's like one other state that I always forget. Oh, it's Florida. it's like Ohio and Florida are like the two closest states. There's like a distant third, but Ohio and Florida are like the two closest states to like representing like what the national demographics are. And so like this, and you can even see this in like other elements too. So like all fast food chains, they test food products in Ohio. It's like the state they come to when they have a new item they want to sell. The reason they do that is because it's easier to do it test shop in Ohio as a representation for the rest of the nation. That's why people in Ohio get all these like random things like newer, or ahead of time. And I've always kind of thought that too. Ohio's a lot more, little Syria. You would be mind blown by how non-white Ohio is. Mind blown. What is the Haitian population up to in Ohio? I think it's anywhere from like 70 to 80,000. You know, obviously there's the big one that was dropped off in Springfield, but like I told you guys, there was a bunch of these sprinklings everywhere else. There's like 7,000 dropped off in like Salem. You know, there's like 4,500 that was dropped off in, in all these different random towns and small villages across the country, across Ohio. I think the large figure I saw was like anywhere from around like 70,000 or something like that. 70,000 too many, to be quite honest with you. So let's go watch something that's gonna piss us off. This is another element here. This is from some Jew who I don't really know, but he attacks Nick. So his name is Yeshai Fleischer, and so I had just seen this. No way, he deleted it. Dude, he deleted it. Okay, well, never mind. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. He deleted it. Well, he made it look this like 2 or 3 minute clip where he's just attacking Nick, and it was some of the most easily like, what do you call it? Like debunkable stuff he was saying. That's probably why he deleted it. So never mind. We're not going to do that. He deleted that. Let's do something else. Captive Dreamer went on to Timcast, which isn't even Timcast. It's a random guy, whoever's there. Cast is, I guess, like the new name of it. What's this one? So this is our Captive Dreamer here, Mr. Fivehead on the right hand side. It's probably easier to use this one actually. And this is the new guy who's basically been doing a lot of the co-hosting duties for Timcast. He goes by Tate Brown, I believe. But this is Captive Dreamer here. But this is LP. Everybody calls him LP. But this is I Hypocrite. He says, everything I don't like, criticism of Israel, is left-wing and brown. Looking for a way to really threaten the liberal world order? Make sure you tune in to Check's Notes, Timcast. So before we play this video, many of you might not know who Captive Dreamer is. Well, besides him having a massive 5-head, and I'm allowed to say that, I'm bald. There is a class of people that exist in the dissident right who seem to be like the other side of the aisle of gatekeepers. And so what I mean by that, what is the right way to categorize this camp? They are basically just naysayers. They are, we can criticize Israel, but it needs to be like this. They are like the gatekeepers. They are what I would imagine Charlie Kirk would have sided with, had he continued down the trajectory he was on. And so who I'm referencing, well, that would be Captive Dreamer. Another person who falls into this camp would be John Doyle. There's a few others that kind of fall into this camp, but basically they make their living off of being angry at anything that Nick says, and they're kind of in the BAP sphere, which if any of you have listened to Nick at all, you would have an idea of what the BAP sphere is, which is Bronze Age pervert and raw egg nationalists. There's a lot of these guys that fall into this camp who are ultimately not white, but they exist on this side of politics. They talk a lot about being MAGA and American politics, but when you dig deeper into any of them, you find out a lot of them are, again, Jewish, or they're Greek, or they're not American. And they frame as their purpose is to basically be the allowable Israel criticism, meaning that anything beyond them is anti-Semitism. Like they're that gap stop. They're the pressure relief valve. And so the three biggest and that fall into that category would be Bronze Age pervert, Captive Dreamer, and John Doyle. Like those are the 3 big guys. And that's where I would imagine Charlie Kirk would have ended. So just to give you that explainer, this is this guy on the right-hand side talking to, on the left-hand side, the new fill-in host for Timcast, with the quote here saying, some on the right are now using left-wing talking points quoting international law and human rights violations to make their case. So if you remember, what was the first thing they started doing when the right was getting active? Well, they said they're the woke right. And, the woke right, whatever you want to say. And that was being paraded and led by the Seth Dillon camp. And they still are. And there's a lot of them that have adapted that language. And what you'll find similar is this language is very, 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 very identical to what they were doing. And again, these guys are gatekeepers. They are shepherds, if you will. Their only purpose is to steer people into certain directions. They are not here to be truth tellers. Their only goal is to make sure that you go where the government and anyone else who paid them gets you to exactly where they wanted you to be in the first place.
I'm in no means an Israel shill. I'm kind of like with Tim. I just kind of am fairly ambivalent on the issue. I actually kind of use Connor Tomlinson. He has a great line on it, and I totally agree. I just really want what Israel has, but for Americans. Like if we could just create an American version of Israel, I'd be okay with that. But some of the like attack vectors people on the right are using are like leftist arguments. Like they're talking about international law, or they're like saying, well, they're like appealing to like human rights violations and these sorts of things. And I'm like, okay, sure, but that's just not really, that's not a vector of attack that's threatening to the liberal world order in any meaningful way.
Yeah, that's an issue actually I talked about at length.
Wait, is he legitimately gay? I thought that was just a joke. He might be. He has all the tells of it.
Right after the October 7th attacks, and it gained me a lot of enemies on the internet, right? But I was basically trying to say, like, you can criticize Israel without adopting the frame of the left, right? Without adopting this sort of language that's going to get you, it's going to get you allies in terms of like the third world or the Muslim world. But those are the same people who will then not give you, like if you talk about crime or immigration, they're not going to be on board with you on that stuff at all.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I was warning people. It's like you can build a coalition with these people, but if you're an American patriot or you're,
I see what you're saying. I realize now it's a problem that my soundboard's on the same webpage as that. I can't press anything when I'm watching it. Okay, I will fix that problem. Okay, back to the video.
European patriot, whatever, it's going to backfire spectacularly when it comes time to ask these people to give you, some support on your
Gay!
issues of the border, of immigration, of these things. And we've seen now that that's kind of exactly what's happened, where they've been sort of cannibalized by the audience that they've cultivated.
So there he is. And that's basically his whole goal, is to present himself as like the non-Fuentes option. And you'll notice this too. A lot of the same things happened with Trump as well. It's kind of like how Ron DeSantis had positioned himself. Many people will see that and they will offer themselves up as the better option, a cleaner option. I'm the more polished option. I don't come with all the baggage. I'll tell you how it really is. I can articulate it in a way that will understand. Well, even that's not even how he sounds. I can't even do it. I have to sound like a child almost to make that voice sound like him. But this is the idea. And when I'd seen this a lot too, with even like a lot of these, what would you call it? That's where I saw it from. I saw it from a black conservative who had posted it. And he had posted it, you know who the real racists are? The real racists are the left. And here we are once again. This problem being that the biggest thing we have to solve for is racism. No. Like, I'm sorry. Like, just no. It's like, I'm not going to actively harbor like actual genuine hatred towards other people. That's not what we do as Christians. But we are going to recognize again, we're going to race realism. It seems to be the biggest push they're trying to hold back against is on a couple elements. One, the woman element, but two, race. Race is this thing they are hanging on to for dear life. And we have to move away from that. And that's what they don't want. They don't want the new age Republican to go, no, I do see race. I am white and you are black. Let's discuss why these differences matter. That's what they don't want. They don't want the conversation to go there. And why? Well, as we discussed earlier, the truth is offensive. The truth is inconvenient. The truth is typically what people don't want to hear. And they know what's on the other side of that direction or conversation rather. And they want to avoid that. And so they're basically doing everything they can. They are basically flooding the space politically with a lot of, just bad faith actors, but more so, and more importantly, a lot of these gatekeepers who that's like the one issue they'll prevent against. And that's kind of the rhetoric used there, right? Human rights violation, international law, using left-wing talking points. Now, when Seth Dillon was saying it, he was saying it in terms of the, the oppression Olympics or the racial identitarian aspect, which is people see that they're being victimized and it's through a racial lens. And he was like, see, they're doing the same thing with the left. The only issue is the left's argument actually was correct. It was just like not about the right person. The right person is the right group of people who are largely being oppressed are whites, and more specifically white males. And to recognize that is not a woke left thing. It's just to say the woke left is delusional, and they go off on all these ridiculous tangents about systemic racism against black people, and largely headed by a lot of Jewish people who write these articles about whiteness. And so there's like a matrix there, but that's what they fear. And largely you can see some of this with on the religion aspect with what we just saw with Glenn Beck and Vivek, but more so Vivek. And with Vivek, it's more confidence to go, no, we're a Christian nation. So I would imagine what's going to be slowly come after that, when people begin to get a lot more confidence saying, actually, no, I'm a Christian. This is a Christian nation. Hindus can bug off. I would see more and more that we will get into this position where it's like, actually, no, like I am a white dude and you guys have systemically oppressed us doing all of this stuff. And it's not to say use the same Marxist language or framing, but, just to say like, just because the left did it it's not by any means or stretch good enough on its own. Does it stand alone or as a reason to go, oh, we can't do this or do that. But that's what they don't want. They don't want white guys who are racially conscious. They don't want white dudes who can look at it and go, oh, hey, so did you do that because I was white? Did you have the confidence to say that to me because I'm a white dude? And you think that there's so many social mechanisms that will literally rape my life that you think I won't talk back to you? And that's kind of like who I am, right? I am the person, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are like that too. I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody, but that's like what I position myself to be. It's part of the reason like why my wife's family hates me. It's part of like, and hate's probably a too strong of a word, but don't like me. It's part of the reason why I have a lot of random interactions. It's probably the reason why I've been jumped multiple times in the city. It's probably the reason why. No, I'll save that. But that's what I would like to see. I don't do this because it's like, oh, look at me. I do this because I want the men to be like this. I want you guys to not be afraid. I want you guys to have the confidence to look at your girlfriend, your wife, and say, woman, you haven't cleaned nothing. I'm not doing that. You don't run this home. You don't run this household. And truth be told, we haven't had any sexual relations and yada, yada. Like I want men to be able to talk like that. I want men to have the confidence to do that. I want men to go, no, you're not going to walk all over me. I want men to not be racially cucked to black people. I want men to not walk at the ever-loving, at the heels of every race because they're too afraid of losing their job or being punished in some effect. And imagine how racially cucked that is. It's like you fear saying your thoughts and minds because your wife is a libtard. So not only do you fear your wife, but your wife will punish you for stepping away from being racially cucked. You're cucked, like that's cuck squared. Like you're cucked by your wife and by race. Like cuck squared is what you are. And that's what I hate the most, because I think, and people who have watched me and followed me for quite some time, even when I was with Jarb on his podcast, they'll tell you, I have said this a lot, which is the thing that disgusts me the most when I'm out in public or I'm at Walmart or I'm at dinner or I'm at literally anywhere is when I think of if what happens when a gunshot goes off and I'm in this room, right? Or say like a robber breaks in or like anything happens. Why do I feel like I'm one of 3 guys out of a room of 200 people that people are going to look to when things pop off? Well, it's because the average guy, when I look out, they are fat, lazy, retarded, and truth be told, they're uninspired. They've given up. They're broken. They're purposeless. They're heartbroken. They're hollowed out. They're destroyed. They feel soulless. And that's what bothers me the most. And, I'll say it and I'll say it again. Like, I think one of the biggest barriers that holds us back, I'll say it again, is women. If we could get men to get around this mechanism of being so collared by their wife or their significant others or other women in their lives, we would see some significant changes. We really would. Think about what a breath of fresh air it is when you guys first started hearing Andrew Tate talk. I know people might not like him because he's Muslim or whatever, but you can't tell me that some of these bits weren't funny. You can't tell me that he hasn't had some hilarious moments. And then go to Joel Webben and see the way that his kind of political career is going. Right? I hate to say political career, but the way he's kind of treated in the media, right? Attacked all the time. And look at the way people follow him in lockstep. They go, yep, Joel's my pastor. That's my guy. I'd move down to, I don't know where he's at now. I don't want to dox him either, but people have I've known people who have physically moved, to go. And this is the point. It's it's not about even being and that's the reason why Tate is such a problem for people, but they're not getting it. The main thing that was good about him was he was a confident male. He was a confident male who said, I don't give a shit what you say. F you. Here's my F you money, right? I'm going to say whatever I want. I'm going to say this to a woman. I'm going to do this and not care about the consequences. That's what we need. We need the energy of that. We need men who don't constantly worry themselves, because you understand that that men didn't used to live very long for a very long time. And this isn't to say to be reckless. It's to say what happened to this belief of, I'm going to do something because I believe in it. I'm going to do something because I hold this ideal to be true. I'm going to do this because I want to do something for the future. I want to do something because it means more than just because it means more than what I'm getting from sitting on the couch and having date nights with my wife. And it's not to say those things are bad, and it's not to say, it's not to shame guys who aren't doing that, but it's to say where's that energy, man? And I know you guys see it too, bro. Why are all the guys who are going and talking about, these what's the word? Again, all these guys who are talking to Vivek, I can see they're shaking. Why do they all look like they barely weigh 110 pounds soaking wet? And it's in. You see how I'm beginning to just try to, say some of this stuff? And unfortunately, it's always offensive, right? It always offends people. And that's just the way that it is. And a lot of guys need to hear this, right? A lot of guys do need to hear the fact that, listen, you probably are lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself completely about who you are and where you are. And you need to do better. You need to find conviction. You need to find the fearlessness, and you need to be better. You need to have confidence. And why do you think people hate Nick? Why do you think people flock to Nick? Just say it. You're going to be hated anyways. At least go out with a bang, right? At least, not violently. But if you're going to be hated and you're going to be suppressed and you know what's right, what do you have to lose? And truly, if you're a Christian, what do you have to lose? Is life here on earth? And, it's not to say don't treat life as if it's not special or, not to give up responsibilities as you have family members. But really, truly, if you believe in the Christian faith, I question myself all the time. What is stopping me? I know everybody hears the call. I know everybody hears the bell ringing, right? The bell, ding, ding, ding. They're not war drums, man. But I know, I swear on God's green earth, and you're lying to me if you tell me otherwise, I know that many of you here in chat have probably had thoughts and moments where you see a news story or something happens to your life personally, you go, I'm not doing enough, am I? What else could I be doing? And, truth be told, there's an element of all of us being surrounded by distractions and escapism, and there is an element of having this burden, this barrier in front of us, and largely because they made it that way. The system's designed that way. A lot of these negative feedback loops feed into each other. They continue the cycle. They push people down further along. But not to spend too much time on that. We'll hit some of these quick ones here. we have Marjorie Taylor Greene lighting up the Trump administration for the economic status of the country, and basically her saying what she's not seeing with the economy. And I thought that was pretty funny because Marjorie just always has a lot of good moments and always has a lot of bad moments, man. But again, she's one of the better ones, I guess, if you will. But she does light up the Republicans. And so here's this, and she's on CNN. It's about a minute and a half. Let her rip.
Oh, I don't think it's good advice that a government shutdown is going to help Republicans in the midterms. I don't agree with that. I also don't think it's good advice that Republicans ignoring the health insurance crisis is going to be good for midterms. I actually think that would be very bad for midterms. And I think that just not staying focused on America First policies is detrimental as well.
Yeah, and on that note, are you concerned about the cost of living?
Very.
That the President Trump said he would lower?
The inflation crushed people in the past 4.5 years, and the costs have not come down. I myself can tell you my apartment here in Washington, D.C., the electricity bill is $100 more than it was last year, because you can look at your own bill and look at cost. Prices have not come down. That is a reality. People's wages have not gone up. That's another reality. And so Americans are continuing to have a very difficult time getting by. And I'll go a step further. I'm a mom. And so when it comes to what is affecting my adult children's lives, who are 22, 26, and 28, I'm going to be 1,000% fighting for them over any politician and any party. And I can tell you right now, that generation, they are barely making it, and they're very hopeless for their future.
Very much so. And that's one thing that I'd even thought about too, which was like, it doesn't seem to me that the economy's improved much, but I've also like not even thought about it much. I've been so worried about obviously geopolitical and all the Israeli involvement, and the Charlie Kirk stuff just like really took it up for me. Because that's all obviously what I've been focused about, same with Candace and everybody else seemingly. But that is one thing too. You know, I've maybe you guys have different stories to tell, but it's getting like more expensive where I'm at, and you know, I'm in like the suburbs here in Ohio, the burbs, if you will. And it's curious. It's something I'd have to look up a bit more. But I do think she's right. Like I think they will weaponize it. Like if the economy's not moved, it isn't. And here's what you guys have to understand. It doesn't matter if it's true. It matters if they can say it and people will buy it. You know, it's like, so if that's what they're pushing, and that's going to be the push against Trump, is that like he basically didn't do anything with the economy. He wasn't good enough or whatever. That will be an attack point. Then again, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It matters if the media can use it. It matters if it can be weaponized. It matters if they can make a nice little State Farm jingle out of it. They can spread it a bajillion times, and that's what matters to these people. Not the truth, not it being right. It matters if they can claim power and wield it. But I wanted to highlight that because I'm sure she's going to get some flack from a lot of people, to be honest. And then, but here we have the J. Jones update with Abigail Spanberger. We're going to cover Abigail Spanberger and Kati Porter, and I'll probably sign off for the night. But we have the latest development with this. And so we have, so if you guys aren't familiar with the J. Jones story, I did do a video covering it basically front to back from J. Jones' perspective. J. Jones is running for Attorney General in Virginia. And in 2022, there was a passing of a man who goes by the name of Joe Johnson. And Joe Johnson was in his early 90s, and he was a longtime centrist who was in the Congress there in Virginia. And when he had passed, there was the current House Speaker, Republican Todd Gilbert, gave a eulogy to the recently passed Joe Johnson. It was while Todd Gilbert was giving a eulogy to Joe Johnson, and this was the part that will connect it. Joe Johnson was a Democrat. The person giving him his eulogy was a Republican. The Republican giving the eulogy goes by Todd Gilbert. J. Jones, seeing this eulogy, basically has like an emotional crash out. And the reason why I said Joe Johnson was a centrist is important was because this is what angered J. Jones. J. Jones saw that, and it pissed him off to such a degree, he literally started talking via text to Kerry Coyner, a fellow colleague in Congress. he started spamming her via text messages, all the things he would like to do to Todd Gilbert, and basically that resulted in a bunch of violence. And so there was a flurry of text messages that started it. Carrie Coyner got alarmed. Jay Jones called her to continue the conversation. She hung up the phone in disgust because he was trying to convey to her that politicians and people need to feel violence to change their minds. And after she hangs up on him, he continues this barrage. Ultimately, one of the final messages that we had in that text exchange was, "I think they're evil and I think they're breeding little fascists." Now, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that was the idea behind it. So what did this cause? Well, what did this cause was now all of this major pressure is now on all of the people on the left, because there is a governor race happening that is between Abigail Spanberger and I think her name is Ursum Winsome Jones. And there have been repeated calls from the right and many people that Abigail and many other people from the left need to call for Jay Jones to step down from his race or cease his bid for AG, because he is not yet. He has hardly even apologized. He basically said, like all people, I've made mistakes. He chucked it up as if it was something that people do often. This is a common mistake people do. People commonly send other individuals at their workplace how they wish to, harm their children. It's like, so he doesn't fear anything. He's not afraid of anything. So the reason why this is newsworthy is because Abigail Spanberger has been now thrust into the spotlight because of this, because she personally endorsed Jay Jones. Not only once, but twice, but multiple times. And she is now not walking away. She refused to disavow him. She basically disavowed the comments. She said there's no place for speech like that, but she will not say he needs to walk away from the race. So what we have from that is this nice bit from End Wokeness. But Winsome Earl Seals made another ad out of this. She's made multiple ads about Abigail Spanberger in this, from this story alone. So what we're going to watch is this ad here posted by End Wokeness, but it is from Winsome Earl Sears. She's been doing a great job posting these ads. I've never heard of her before, but she's rising like crazy. So this is a minute and a half, and no joke, it is like disgusting. You just have to watch. We'll play it here.
Would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Ms. Earl Sears.
I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them. Have you nothing to say about that? Are you not going to address it? Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right? Have some political courage. What you have done is you are taking political calculations about your future as governor. Well, as governor, you have to make hard choices, and that means telling Jay Jones to leave the race.
So this is a political ad paid for by Winsome for governor. So that is who Abigail Spanberger is competing against. I'm assuming it's basically just down to those two. I'm not following it as the race itself. I'm following it just from the Jay Jones perspective. But this is now where the story has went. So here's like a follow-up moment, like actually directly after this. And I found this from Winsome Earl Sears again. But this is like directly after that moment of silence where she refused to say anything because the moderator is actually going to ask the question again. This is about another minute long here.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger.
Holy crap. Is everyone still with us? Is everyone's stereo system still intact? Holy crap. It was so loud.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years.
What did you do about it?
So she immediately pivots to this time thing, and yeah, she's definitely a burger. You you have all the visual proof you need just from that video alone. And that is actually kind of curious. I highlighted this in the video as well. The messages were sent in 2022. We did not find out about them until 2025. And I am partially of the mind that they were revealed because not as an attempt to attack Jay Jones, but as an attempt to corner Spanberger. Just a theory there, but she's obviously deflecting immediately. She's already like blame shifting and not answering the question. This is just an awful look, dude. There's no way how someone like this can win anything in politics is beyond me. I struggle to understand it truly.
Of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
She denounces murder.
And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them,
you're running to
presumably for
Ms. Earl
political
Sayers,
reasons. But the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
That's crazy, dude. So she's admitting that all she did was she disavowed the choice of words, but she will not call for him to step down. She says, actually, the voters should decide. Actually, we'll let the voters decide. Should they let some lunatic in who screams about, making somebody's wife watch their children die? Or not, maybe not. I guess we'll see at the ballot box. Dude, that's crazy.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee.
Ms. Earl Sayers,
and it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And no joke, I got this from Wall Street Apes. I found this. A poll was apparently sent out to Democrat voters in Virginia. And the poll asked if the text sent by the Virginia Attorney General nominee that called for the murder of Republicans, their kids, and police, because there wasn't another element to that, was disqualifying to run for AG. 93% of Democrats responded no. They said, no, that's not disqualifying. They said, actually, we agree. They said, actually, you didn't go far enough. But I do agree with this next statement here. We cannot coexist with liberals. They literally want us dead. Somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. There is no unity. One side has to win and one side has to lose. Unity means at this point, unity just essentially means a stasis period of consistent political violence. So here's this video here. This is from the JF radio show, which I believe, who would that be? Not sure who that is. Let's see who it's from.
So I just got a poll, just came out last night, got it when I got up today. This is really going to not sit well with you. And a poll was sanctioned by the John Reed for Lieutenant Governor campaign, so I got the insight on it. It hasn't been released yet. But here's the one number that is going to make you sick to your stomach. Here's the one number. When Democrats in Virginia were asked, did the text that Jay Jones sent to a colleague calling for the assassination of, at that time, Republican Speaker Todd Gilbert, his wife, his kids, hoping his kids would die in her arms so she could suffer, calling for police to die so he could get policy on qualified immunity. When asked the question, are these texts disqualifying for your candidate for Attorney General, 7% of Virginia Democrats said yes. 93 said no. So basically, if you're a Virginia Democrat, you have no problem with your candidate for Attorney General threatening assassination of Speaker of the House, his wife.
That's just, yeah, you can't coexist with them. You can't coexist with these people. Another thing too is what is a Virginia Democrat, right? Like, wouldn't they be a bit more like Rust Belt? Like, wouldn't they a bit more be like a New York Democrat or like a Pennsylvania Democrat, which is really more like Union boys, less so like leftist? And so if like Virginia's even captured to this degree, I mean, it's not like we can see the polling data here. Who knows if they send it to, 30 people from a Discord. So of course they get that response, but it is very, 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 very disturbing, to say the least. But I didn't even need to tell you that. You guys know. You guys know this is the case. Everybody knows this is the case. This is actually why, because everybody knows this is the case, this is why everybody is angry with the current administration, angry that nothing is supposedly being done, angry that the only thing being done is Israeli censorship, angry that the only people being deported are those on college campuses protesting the Gaza war, angry that when Kirk gets assassinated, we don't get answers. All we get is more nonsensical things, angry that all we've really gotten from the Trump administration is a slap in the face and a kiss from Jeffrey Epstein. That is why people are angry, and I didn't need to tell you that. That's why you're all here. Yes, vote harder. Vote harder. I'm voting so hard right now. I'm voting so hard right now. And send a bill for me for ball removal. What? Oh, dude, do you think my wife would willingly be on air with me while I scream, while I do an anti-Semitism, while I do a racism? No, I wouldn't. She couldn't keep up anyways. And also do I don't want to put her in the public light either. She's mine. Back off. Back off, you filthy nons. So that was it from Abigail Spanberger. That Virginia story is probably going to keep rising, especially because it's obviously terrible optics. But we do have Kati Porter. And so Kati Porter is another one of these just disgusting women. I don't even know if you could consider her a woman. She is one of the ugliest creatures my eyes have ever laid sight on. And that is not even me trying to be rude. This is me being honest with you. And I will always be honest with you guys. I will never hold anything back. I'm honest with this. Seriously, it's disgusting, dude. Like, let me get this still shot up here. What is this, dude? And the reason why I feel so comfortable talking trash about her appearance is because somehow her personality's worse. Somehow who she is as a person is worse. And listen, you know what they say to the fat women who are mean? You gotta pick a struggle. You gotta pick a struggle. You can either be fat or you can be mean. You can't be both. You gotta pick a battlefield to wage war on. You can't have an eighth front war like Israel. It is also nice to see you in here, Lord of the Rhea. I saw you came in here earlier. Appreciate you coming in here, man. This is from Joy Manarino, and so she basically, the story with Kati Porter is that she annihilated her chances overnight because she's running for governor of California. She was, up to this bad moment caught on camera, was the leading candidate for governor in California, taking over for Gavin Newsom. This moment, and there's a couple of them actually. So there's a couple of moments caught on video, and then there's a story that was dropped by the New York Post. It's also just ridiculous. But here's the moment. And so this is how she treats her house slaves. It's from Joy Manarino. It's about a 42-second clip. And what you're going to notice is somebody back here. And you'll notice that they got some choice words for them.
This fall in September. And what it showed is if we don't electrify our transportation sector, that we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the state could lose... Get out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money. Perfect. Okay.
Now, obviously, like, this isn't like nearly as disqualifying as sending messages about like wishing harm on somebody like Jay Jones. But like, I think when somebody looks at an ugly woman like this and then ugly behavior comes out of them, everyone's like, we're done. Nope. Like they even like, you know, the like the market people are like, listen, ma'am, you're not a TV personality, so you gotta at least be nice. We can't have this. So no joke, I wasn't following this story much at all, but I picked it up when I saw this. Actually, this video blew me away. It's so funny. Not all those words there, the words we don't like to read here. But take a listen to this. Take a listen to how her numbers dropped after this video.
I think that Katie Porter's making history because she has potentially annihilated her chances to be the next governor of California, more so than any other candidate I've ever seen so quickly. My goodness gracious, what are we talking about right here? Well, let's take a look. Chance to be the next California governor, according to the Cal Sheep.
Look at this. Look at this. 40% dropped to 16%. And the same part is, do you see this asterisk down here? The other candidate closed his race some time ago. And now he's beating her. He's not even running anymore and he's beating her. Dude, you get what you deserve, ma'am.
Prediction market, Katie Porter's chances have fallen through the floor. Just 2 days ago, she was the plurality leader in the prediction markets at 40%. Now, get this, her chance has fallen by more than half to just 16%. My goodness gracious. Meanwhile, Alex Padilla, who's not even running for governor of California at this point, he's a sitting senator from that state, his chances have gone up through the roof from 10% all the way to 27%, nearly gone up threefold. Now,
and to think of all the people reporting on it too, CNN. Dude. Oh, that's brutal, dude. That's brutal. And the story that also came out from the New York Post here as well, you know, we can just read the title here. I think that's the part that matters the most. Katie Porter dumped scalding mashed potatoes on then husband's head, resurfaced divorce docs reveal. I get it. Katie Porter, that's a good one. Katie Porter. John Ward made a good video about her as well. It's like it was like Katie Porter versus Katie Porter or something like that. Great video maker. And yeah, she's I have a strong feeling she's not going to be winning that governor race at all. And that basically brings us to the end of some of the stuff I was willing to cover, or wanting to cover, I guess I should say. You know, a lot of reactionary stuff, not anything too big outside of the Qatari stuff. We have U.S. troops, you know, I covered that a little bit, you know, being sent over. Possibly we may have some U.S. soldiers may be in a position where they could possibly die for Israel. We don't want that at all. Yes. Katie Porter ends Katie Porter's career. Yes, thank you, Lord of the Ray. And that brings me to the announcement that I wanted to give out earlier, but I waited until the end when I had a lot more of you guys here. Appreciate you being here, brother. Have a good rest of your night, man. Appreciate seeing you in here, anticipated. And that is this. And it is a working title as of right now, but the reason why I'm going over to Outside the Overton is because you can see right here, New American Vision Creators. And so I believe right now it is a working title so far, but that is the list of us guys here. So far, there is 6 of us. And again, a lot of it is being worked in behind the scenes. We are trying to build out a network. Obviously, I've said this many, many times before, and it was my initial goal. And I've always said too, like, I don't care if I need to coordinate it or I need to bring people on or if like I'm a part of the team. I just want to be a part of an organization that competes with the Daily Wire. I want to be a part of an organization that competes with Fox News. I want to be a part of an organization that does bring what our grievances are, that does bring our ideology to the forefront, that does bring Christian nationalism, that does bring all of that. That's the part there. The details, well, for one, I just have to keep it under wraps. I don't want to say anything too much at all, so I don't ruin anything. But there's a lot of moving pieces, and I just want to let you guys know that is in the works right now. And many of you guys might not know who's the other one. So let's go through it, right? It's Beyond the Pain, which is a secondary channel for Outside the Overton. You have me, then you have John Ward. He's a big dog, and I think he'll be one of the. He's I don't want to say too much. Let me just say that. Let me just not say too much. But then we have mainstream dissident. He disappeared. And then Kinoflex. And then 1989 theology. So I've had 1, 2, 3. I've had these 3 guys on the show. If you want to see who those are from my perspective, you can find those interviews on YouTube as well as Apple and Spotify. And then Kinoflex, who does a bit more of like movie reviews. And he's in our space. If anybody had caught the 3CC, the Third Continental Congress that I did with John Ward when me and Zeb went on, he was there, and he covers a lot more of like the cultural kind of Hollywood side of things, but he does pretty good. Lord of the Reese says I've been doing covers for John Ward's series Inward, so technically we're co-workers. Yeah, we're co-workers. I guess that's what we'll say. We're co-workers for now. Michigan Gripper said, should I start? Start what, actually? Yeah, I mean, getting involved, yeah, definitely. I don't have anything actionable for you guys at all right now for what to do. I just wanted to give the announcement out that we are taking the step forward. And it's funny because when I heard that name, New American Vision, I was like, I actually really love that, dude. I really love it. And Zeb said that he was like, yeah, the more I say it, the more I fall in love with it. And I was like, I actually do like that a lot. But just to give that update with you guys as well. And that's kind of what we're working towards. And I think kind of some of the goal we have now is to orient the network around a schedule of clock of shows. And so that would essentially mean like, having a hub where people can watch from basically like, I don't know, 9 to 5 or whatever the time scale they choose to be what fits better, and us fulfilling a slots on this network. And I think obviously early on, it's not going to be the most financial rewarding just because it'll be a new venture. But the goal is obviously to make that and push that. And so similar to probably how you see the Rift TV is set up, I think that's very similar to what we're going to do. The Rift TV obviously being like Elijah Schaefer, Sarah Stock, Kai Schwimmer, and a couple others that I'm forgetting. So Lord forgive me. But similar to that, where we're kind of all affiliated together and we are all in the same mention. I think in the words of Zeb, a tenant media, but not gay. if that explains it a bit further for you. But that is basically where I'll go ahead and end it today. I do appreciate you guys greatly. I love and appreciate all the support. Appreciate seeing you guys here. And, and again, it's not going to be, I'm glad you said that, Sly. It probably won't be, it's not going to be as militant as a Patriot Front, but it, and obviously we have a lot of working parts we want to think about. But that is where I will leave it. And so appreciate you guys. Love seeing you guys here. It's always a joy to do Casual Friday and not be in a full-blown suit and tie. But appreciate you guys as always. Christ is King. Jesus is Lord. Deport Kash Patel. Ban Pam Bondi, or throw Pam Bondi in jail actually, and banish her to the kitchen forever. But with that being said, I do hope that if this did anything, I hope it inspired each and every one of you guys to be better men and to not be racially cucked, not to be cucked legitimately, not to be cucked in any way, and be the men that God called you to be. And so with that, I will see you guys after this weekend. I'll more than likely see you on Monday, unless I do a members only. I might do a members only this weekend, but if I do, I will post it in the Discord. But with that, I appreciate you all. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys Monday. Peace out.
Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord.